Hello? Test, test, test. Is the audio okay? Should be streaming over at Twitch too, for those of you who prefer that platform, or whatever. But how's the audio? I haven't been streaming for the past like week and a half. So yeah, sorry. I've been like, I've not been very active on Twitter and all that stuff. Some of you guys know I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I've been training for a match I have coming up. So all my free time has been kind of going there, and I've been kind of passively playing the market on like higher time frames. So I haven't been really deep in the weeds of the charts as much, and then making moves on them. So yeah, that's why I think the last stream I did was like a week and a half ago, something like that. But yeah, I'm trying to update you guys because I think today's going to be a good day. I think it's going to be a big day for a lot of coins. Not all, but a good chunk of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the higher time frame, as we like to do. We'll start on the 1 day and move inward. So let's go ahead and clear this out. So something very interesting is happening. Let's add BBW, and yeah, that's good. So first, let's take a look at the Bollinger Bands, and look at specifically the relationship to the 250 EMA. As we, unless you've been living under a rock, we had this death cross right here that, ironically enough, signaled the bottom of the market. Then we had a golden cross right here, which signaled the top of the market. And now we're kind of like in this weird zone where we're now seeing high volume, right, because of the consensus, and the Bollinger Bands are still consolidated. And there's a very good possibility, for those of you guys who like to play the Bollinger Bands, that what we're doing is a head fake. A head fake is, let me find my stylus here and I'll draw you an example. So a head fake is just when the Bollinger Bands consolidate, and then they'll consolidate here. The Bollinger Bands will start to expand. The price will move down, but really they go up. It's totally possible we could see something right here or broke below it. The Bollinger Bands are consolidating, and they're not really expanding anymore. They're kind of flattened out as the price is actually seeing an increase in volume on the way up, which is very interesting. And right now, as of the time of the stream, we're playing just the tip with the 50 and the 200 EMA here. So very interesting times right now. If we look at the cloud, the 1 day cloud, if I remember correctly, something interesting is here as well. Yes, so here we go. The Kumo is still bullish, right? We still see this green cloud is nice and thick, which is typically on face value a good sign. But what's really interesting here is that just general rule of thumb, whenever the price trend enters the cloud, it has a tendency to want to go to the other side of the cloud before reversing. And that's not really what we're seeing here. We're seeing like a mid-cloud reversal. And it's quite possible we'll see a cross, this TK cross, this Tenkan Kijun cross right here, which would be, if this crossed up here, that would be pretty bullish. So wait, no, do I have that backwards? I do have that backwards. Okay. If this crosses, this would be a weak bearish. Sorry, my mind is elsewhere. This would be a weak bearish cross, right? So I'll do a sanity check with me. For those asking, the cloud settings I use are just the default settings. I don't use the doubled settings, but the doubled settings that Josh Olszewicz likes to use. you know, it gives good signals too. This just gives you a different set of signals. There's nothing like wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's just different priorities here. Yeah, so this would be a weak bearish cross, but we can see here that it has yet to cross. So there's no real sell signal from the cloud just yet. Something very interesting though is if the price pushes up just a little bit more, the Chiku span, which is this yellow line, would actually break through this thin part of the cloud, which if this breaks through the cloud is a bullish signal. Okay. So a lot of interesting stuff happening here, and it wouldn't take much more to break through it. You know, we'd see if we rallied to like 9K and closed on the daily, the Chiku would be through the cloud. So something to keep an eye on. But on a more immediate time scale, so like let's look at like the 2 hour, for example. We see a really nice trading range, and it's not quite 100% crystal clear just what the hell this thing is. Okay, and I'm gonna go into more detail about that. So a lot of people are calling this a distribution trading range because on face value, if you're looking at just the price action, this looks like a distribution trading range. Not the best distribution trading range, but a fairly decent one, right? So we see this buying climax right here. We see a secondary test. So if you're following my labeling here, the blue would be the reaccumulation case, and then the red would be the distribution case, right? So some of these have double meanings within different contexts. So I'm going to go into more detail about that. So here's the trading range right in here, all this stuff, right? Between the thick blue bars, this would be the trading range. You can argue that this is still in the trading range, but it's like this is an outlier of the trading range. Typically, you mark the trading range with the buying climax and then the automatic reaction. And if you get a secondary test that breaks a little bit below it, you know, you can make like a little extension kind of dealio, but usually the buying climax and the automatic reaction mark the boundaries of the trading range, you know, just for a rough and dirty analysis of the range. So I'm going to walk through this and we'll talk about why there's an argument for both accumulation and distribution, and which ones I feel is more likely. Okay, so first we'll do the distribution case because that seems to be the big meme on Twitter right now. So if this is distribution, you know, we see this would be preliminary supply, of course, buying climax, automatic reaction. We should have a secondary test right here, a secondary test right here. And then this would be, rather than a sign of strength, this would be an up thrust. And one of the caveats to this argument is that typically with distribution, it remains, the volume doesn't consolidate in a distribution trading range. Typically what happens is it starts volatile and ends volatilely? Is that a word? Volatilely? It has a volatile beginning and ending. And up until we shot out the bottom of the trading range, we didn't really see too high a volume. Like the volume was consolidating throughout the length of this thing. Boom, right? And the volume never really peaked until it started exiting the trading range here, okay? Up until this even entered the picture, this looked like a textbook reaccumulation trading range, okay? We were making higher lows. The volume was consolidating. Like this is what you would want to see in an accumulation trading range. Oftentimes with accumulation trading ranges, you see a test of the low and then a rebound, kind of like this would be like a spring sort of thing. Not quite a spring, but like, let's say like a pseudo spring where like it comes down here and it bounces up. And truth be told, that's what I thought was going to happen. When it entered down into this area, I was expecting an immediate rejection or at least a consolidation period. And that's not what happened. Right? What happened was it just shot straight through the bottom of the trading range on high volume. But what's interesting to note about this trend is that the volume peaked when it broke through, and as it went down lower, the volume actually decreased. Okay? So as it broke through the bottom of the trading range, the volume decreased. And this action is evidence of a potential spring. Okay, springs in reaccumulation aren't a requirement of an accumulation trading range, but it serves to be a shakeout for all the bears. And what it does, okay, so if you think about like an order book and you think about the liquidation of shorters and longs, right? If you shove down really quickly, there's never any chance to build up counter pressure. And so what happens is you get people that short, and they never cover because there's never a cover rally, right? So typically with shorts, you see a breakdown and it rallies up, it breaks down and it rallies up. Because what happens is people short, they take profit, right? So they have to buy back, short again, take profit. We didn't see this for 10% of the market move. And so the bears who shorted up here, all this, they never covered their shorts. And it's evident in the volume, and it's evident now that they're on the verge of being squeezed, because if we push up any higher, anyone who started shorting down here, they were late, they're going to get liquidated. So often what happens is, this is a strategy of the CO, is that as the market breaks below the trading range, it traps eager bears, because the spring builds up, it absorbs all the supply down here. It doesn't allow the price to push any lower, but these guys are still short, right? Well, if you get enough people short and you have thin enough order books up here, because these people are already short, all the CO has to do is do one large market buy, boom. And it stops out everyone. Stop. And what it does is, it's called a short squeeze, is it pushes the market up and it liquidates everyone who's shorted in here, and it pushes the market even further. That is like the jump across the creek. That's what causes the jump across the creek, is that the shorters get trapped and then they get liquidated, which propels, the market even further. It's like the opposite of an upthrust, right? So as the market pushes up, it gets bulls trapped up here, and then the sign of weakness typically comes because the people who are long get liquidated and it pushes it out of the trading range. And honestly, this looks like someone looked at a distribution trading range and said, this looks very close to a distribution trading range, but if you look at it, there are minute details that tell you that it's not quite there. So it looks like a distribution trading range, but it has the characteristics of an accumulation, because you see consolidating volume, right, until it exits the trading range. Volume peaks just a little bit, okay? Volume goes down, and on the rally, it's been increasing the whole way. And of course, we saw this giant fucking candle this morning. So that puts us in a weird situation. It's like, well, volume's increasing on the rally. That shouldn't typically be happening on a last point of supply. Last point of supply should be, as the price rallies upward, volume goes down, but that's not what we're seeing here. But it's like, if you took the price action, it looks like a distribution. So it's this weird hybrid situation right now where we could be potentially on the verge of a large jump, because all these bears are still short and they haven't covered yet. And when they cover, the price is going to push up further. So sorry, I know I just went on a crazy little rant. I'm jazzed because I was trading earlier. So let's get some questions going, and let's have a fruitful discussion here. Do you guys have any questions about anything I just covered? Dude, I don't know what's going on. I think there's like a trash man outside collecting trash. He's being loud as fuck. I'm pretty sure he's like on the side of my house. Favorite altcoins short term? Man, that's not what I'm talking about right now. We'll get to altcoins in a minute. Let's keep it on Bitcoin for a second. And before shit, yeah. No, if I was gonna get robbed, my dog would start going nuts first. So you'd have a heads up. It wouldn't just be like a silent robber. Why did you say there is a, okay, so he's quoting something I said on Twitter. And I said, there's a small part of me that thinks this is actually a bear trap designed to mimic a distribution. Well, that's the whole explanation I just gave, was that the price action mimics a distribution, but the volume does not. Why is it less likely? Because the volume profile doesn't match that of a distribution right now. It's similar to a distribution, just like when we were looking at this reaccumulation trading range a few weeks ago. This looked like a distribution, right? This guy, this little bro. Let's see if we can clip off that big volume. This bro right here. So this looked like a distribution, okay? But it wasn't. It was reaccumulation. I think that's similar to what's going on here because it's trapping in bears to create liquidity for the next jump. So that's why. Check out the 1 week cloud. Okay. Risk of entering the cloud in a few weeks or finding a bottom here. Let's look at the 1 week. So let's go macro. Yeah, okay, so this is something to keep an eye on here. Okay, so here's the other thing too, is that just because we enter the cloud doesn't mean we can't pull up through it. I think there have been examples of that happening on like lower time frames. Let me see. Yeah, so something like this is possible if we overlay that sort of idea on the 1 week. So also something else to keep in mind. Okay, so this cloud is pretty fucking bearish because of how thick it is, but we're seeing a cross on the 3-day. We're seeing a weak bullish cross here, or it's about to be. You know, if we close a little higher. So, you know, even as high as the 1 day, we're seeing some bullish information here. Also, the fact that we're finding support on the Tenkan here, the slow moving average, the fast moving average, is also bullish. So we're kind of riding it down, and it's finding support there. So it's open to interpretation right now. That's why I was saying on Twitter that I don't think this is really a zone of action. It's more of a zone of observation. Unless you're really good with risk management, then obviously, you know, go for it. But besides Wyckoff, what indicators do you use? Do you choose for your entries, targets, and stop losses? So that's a really good question. Recently, I've switched to a predominantly Wyckoff-based market strategy. Okay, and what that means is that my stops and targets and all that stuff is generated based on where I feel the trading range has been established, and my entries are targeted such that you know, I'm catching the bottom or the top of the trading range. If I've established a trading range, I don't ever trade in here. I try not to, unless I'm just feeling like particularly reckless. But like in general with trading ranges, I try not to trade this middle portion. That's just asking to get fucked, right? That's asking to be like, you're short here, it retraces and goes up. You know, you short here, it retraces, you get stopped out and it goes down. Like this middle is like no man's land. So whenever I've established a trading range, I don't trade in here at all. Oh, I keep saying at all, but sometimes. For the most part, like 90% of the time, I do not. But in terms of indicators, I don't really use a whole lot. You know, I use Bollinger Bands are a great tool. Bollinger Bands are a great tool, and obviously volume. But other than that, I don't use a whole lot. I'm starting to use something called, I'm still playing around with it. It's called a Weiss wave. It's this bottom guy. And it's basically is that thunder? It's about to storm. I knew it was too hot today. Probably gonna get a thunderstorm like midstream. So basically what a Weiss wave is, it's a visual representation of effort versus result, which is one of the core principles of, you know, Wyckoff theory, is that like, if you see something with high volume on a narrow spread, right? Say something is like, let me find an example. So, okay, here, this is a great example right here. Okay, so damn it, get out of here. Actually, let me look at, let's get rid of some of these wicks. Let's do 6 hour. Okay, so here's a great example of how Weiss waves can be used. If you think about effort versus result of like buyers versus sellers, and you contextualize that with volume, you can call tops and bottoms fairly well, because it tells you where the momentum's starting to die down. So it's a momentum based on volume and the price spread associated with that volume. So if you look at here, for example, here is very high volume, right? And then we close a new low, we wick a new low, and it's on much less volume. If you look at the Weiss wave here, right, this first push was very strong. Second push was not. I'm not quite sure about all of the back end stuff of how it's properly calculated, but that's the general gist of it, is that this is effort versus result. So high effort, little result indicates usually a typical reversal. So if the volume is pushing really hard, but the price is barely moving, it's got a really narrow body, you know, maybe if a little wick, that's most likely going to reverse. And vice versa, if it's got you know, moderate to low, or just moderate volume, and it's got a wide spread, likely going to be a continuation. You know, something like this, for example, right? So we see a continuation of the Weiss wave as the volume is, you know, moderate. It's pretty good, and the price just keeps trucking along. So Weiss wave is really interesting. It's really nice to pair with the Wyckoff stuff. So if you're interested in doing that, I recommend checking that out too. I think it's a really nice tool. I'm starting to implement it with my trades now. So, any questions about the actual Bitcoin market right now? So BTC positive or negative? I have no idea what the fuck that means. Is it worth it to buy Bitcoin with risk to reward? That's one thing you should never ask me. I'm never going to tell you if you should or should not buy something. That's up to you, man. Are longs versus shorts giving any hints? Let's take a look. Let's look at the 30-minute. So shorts are climbing, which is great, because that means that there are shorts to be squozing. You know, longs are okay. There's nothing crazy going on with the longs. The majority of the market is still long, obviously, the 30 to 21. Yeah, I mean, longs are pretty flat for the most part. Nothing crazy is going on. But the shorts are starting to climb a little bit, and longs are actually going down. So we may see a closing of these shorts, and when the shorts, if the shorts close, we'll see a nice jump across the creek here. So this is a good question. What will give you confirmation of an actual reaccumulation trading range? So what I'm currently waiting for, and what I'm honestly expecting, is once this thing gets done consolidating, so if you look at the low time frames, it's like consolidating in this little like sloppy pennant thing. You know, it looks okay. Nothing, not the best shape, but you know, it's volume consolidating. It's holding above the previous high, so that's good. It's back inside the trading range, which is also good. And it's back inside the trading range on high volume, and it hasn't been rejected yet. That's the biggest thing for me, is that there has been no attempt to reject it at this price level. So what does that mean to me? That means that there's a high likelihood that we'll see an injection of volume hit the market fairly soon, you know, like sometime today, I would expect. And it's going to jump. So there's this idea of, you know, JAC, the jump across the creek, where, or, you know, if you prefer a sign of strength, we can call it that, a sign of strength, which would be a large spread. So something like this, we're going to look for something like this, where we see, you know, like moderate to high volume. I would expect, given the volume that jumped here, we would see higher or at least match it in volume, and the price spread should look something like this, right? Where it's like widespread, very little retracement, and it jumps to a new price level. So I'm eyeballing this as a potential next stop for this jump. And if it jumps up here, that'll be very bullish, and that'll give us higher confidence in the reaccumulation argument. Do you think the similarity between our current market and 2014 is suspicious? No. Okay. Any other questions about Bitcoin before we move on to the other stuff? I'm actually about to add to my Litecoin position, like in the middle of the stream, so don't mind me while I add. Maybe I'll wait. I'll probably get a better entry. How do you figure out the preliminary supply in a trading range? Preliminary supply is typically where the first stop is prior to the buying climax, and it's where the first pullback from the bulls occurs. So it's where the bulls take profit prior to the buying climax. So sometimes the preliminary supply is hard to identify before the buying climax, but it's, you know, it's this first initial sell-off. You know, you see decent volume here where the bulls take profit, and then the bears try to short initially. So is there a way to detect an altcoin ready to pump more than another one based on the reaccumulation phase it has? Yeah, that's the whole idea of accumulation and distribution, is you know, you're identifying when it's ready to jump. That's the underlying like principle that you're trying to you know, get your hands around. Bitcoin looks like it's ready to go. Let's see. Getting a nice little green bean. Let's see if we get a jump. It's how Dick Wyckoff pinned which chart to have his money on. Yeah, exactly. Are you not looking at MACD anymore? I've been looking at the 1 week chart since it crossed down and it's been ready to squeeze. I believe the bear market is about to end. I don't use MACD that much anymore, honestly. I used to use it a lot, but I've found better tools that suit my needs. I'm not a big fan of MACD. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for my trade strategy at the moment. So. All right, let's look at some of these altcoins. Oh, before we do that, I just want to remind you guys, if especially with these crazy moves, I don't always post my ideas on Twitter, but I'm always posting my ideas in my Discord. That's my trading community. If you'd like to get a part of that and join in on the discussion, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com. And you can sign up there. I'm in there majority of the day. If I'm not training, then I'm in there. And we got a nice group of smart dudes, and we're always bouncing ideas off each other, so we can come up to like the most agreeable view on the market. Because you guys only see like my ideas, but I don't always have an answer for things, and sometimes I consult people in the group, and sometimes it helps to have people either reinforce your ideas or poke holes in your ideas, and that's one of the best things about having the trading community that I have. So if you're interested in joining that, again, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and sign up there. So, okay, let's look at some of these altcoins. I've been eyeballing a few of these, and I've been long on Litecoin ever since I posted that on Twitter, that 4-hour chart where I was like, it looks like last point of supply, and I've been long on it ever since I posted that, and it looks like it's ready to just fucking take off. So let's talk about it. Okay, so if we're looking at, I'll label. I've switched to Binance, so I gotta properly label it. So here's buying climax. Here's your buying climax, your automatic reaction, your secondary test, secondary test, secondary test. Here's a huge sign of strength, huge sign of strength, sign of strength. Oops, sign of strength. And this is a big ass creek. Something like that. Creek. Oops, creek. And this is especially interesting. Okay. Do you see how this thing is making higher lows? Keep in mind, this is a macro trading range. This is a 4-hour chart, but this is like a daily. This is fucking huge. Okay. This trading range has been going on since December. Okay. And I'm about to blow your fucking mind with this one. Okay. So look at this, how it's been making higher lows. Okay. These higher lows are called last point of support. These are like optimal trade entries. If you missed this thing, this is typically a higher risk play because you don't have as much confidence in the trend. This is typically, if you enter a long here, this is typically low risk, super high reward. Okay, so when I posted that Litecoin chart, I went long like right here. So the past couple of days it went red, but I didn't really sweat it because it wasn't making a new low. And now we're ready for a markup. And something that's really nice here is these are making higher lows, but look at the volume on this. This is great. So volume is fucking growing. Okay, and someone is absorbing someone's absorbing the cells right here, absorbing the cells right here, and absorbing the cells right here. And I think we're ready for a final fucking markup. And so keep this in mind. So this is the trading range, but this is the 4-hour chart. If we zoom out, this is a smaller part. Binance, bummer. Okay. This little trading range is part of a huge fucking trading range. Humongous, okay? Define climax. Automatic reaction. Secondary test. Secondary test. Secondary test. Spring. Big ass spring. Okay? Look at the volume on this. If you guys were around last December, you remember this giant fucking raging boner. This is the equivalent of this on a much larger time scale. And this is the equivalent of this on a much larger time scale. This is last point of support on daily candles. This is a huge fucking trading range, okay? I'm like super excited about it, okay? It's been reaccumulating since April, over a year, okay? So when this thing fucking goes, it's gonna go hard, man. So I'm really excited about this trade. Obviously I missed this because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, oh, okay, Litecoin instead. But going long here, I feel really good about going long here. This is one of the more bullish charts I've seen. Yeah, now watch it. Watch it just tank. I'm like, yeah, this looks great. I'm gonna go like put all my fucking money on it, and it's just gonna like tank. But like I said, super low risk here, very high reward for what could potentially break out. Because if this thing breaks out, man, easily triple digit Litecoin, okay? And that's no exaggeration here. If this marks up to, you know, let's just give a rough and dirty estimate that the breakout is at minimum the size of this trading range. So what is it, 2100 to, or is that 21,000 to 9K Satoshis? So what is that? 12,000 Satoshis, right? So project this on top of here. 12,000, so 12,000 plus 21, 33,000. So 33K sats. So you do the fucking math on that one, okay? I'm really excited about Litecoin, and it's like one of the only coins that didn't break out during the most recent alt run. So that has me like even more bullish. So I'm really excited about this one. I think it has a lot of potential, and granted, Bitcoin doesn't just like shit all over it and ruin its day. I think Litecoin's gonna have a really, really strong year this year. So I'm eyeballing the shit out of that. Okay, so let's talk about what this guy's statement said. So he said volume seems quite low compared to last year. No, yes it does, but that's actually bullish. Okay. Volume is low. Actually, the volume profile on this is a lot better. Wait, sorry, we were looking at the 1 day, weren't we? Oh, wait, god damn it. Let's go here. Okay, so volume. So if you recall, at the beginning of the stream, when I was talking about the cases for Bitcoin accumulation versus distribution, I said volume consolidation is a sign of reaccumulation. Okay. This means that all of the supply in this area is being absorbed by the CO, the composite operator, and that's why I think it's ready for. And it's going to happen quick. It's going to be something like this, where just one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, "What in the fuck just happened?" And it's going to be one huge fucking candle that goes off my monitor and through the ceiling because there's not enough room on my monitor, and it just goes and just keeps going. So. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not even saying it's going to happen this month. But getting an optimal entry down here, can't pass that up personally. So, okay, just got I'm all sweaty. I'm hot and bothered by that discussion. All right, what would be your breakout entry on Litecoin? What is a breakout entry? Can you be more specific with that question? How do you determine that it is a sign of strength and not an upthrust after distribution? Because the volume should be growing on the rally, and an upthrust after distribution should break the trading range on low volume, and when it returns into the trading range, it should be on increasing volume on the way down. Okay. Look at EOS. Yeah, we can look at EOS because it had just an epic shitting of the brains recently, didn't it? Really glad I didn't FOMO in on it, though. It's not looking the best. Actually, I haven't even like broken down EOS lately, so we can do it right now. All right, so on the daily, the B bands are consolidating. Volume's not really consolidating. It's definitely decreasing, but it's also still really high. Let's see. How does a 12-hour look? 12-hour. So it's still trending above the 50 EMA. I think it just needed to retrace a bit. You know, we do see a weak bearish cross here on the one-day cloud, but overall it's still trending really well. Like, there's no Kumo twist here. I think it just needed a breather, honestly. I mean, it had crazy gains. Like, you can't expect too much out of it. I mean, look at it. It had a crazy run, so I think it just needed a breather. Now might be an okay time to start scooping up or scaling into a position, especially on the BTC pair. But overall, I don't really see a well-defined trading range. I mean, I guess you can argue that this is like a preliminary supply. Yeah, okay, this looks okay. So you can argue that this would be your buying climax. Okay, yeah, this actually doesn't look bad. So let's investigate this a little further. Sorry, I gotta get my format. So let's see. So this would be your preliminary supply, your buying climax, your secondary test. Personally, I wouldn't look to buy anything I would be looking for a spring of some sort. So something that's like, you know, in this price range. What the hell? In this price range down here, you know, something down here would be a really great buy. It's starting to establish, you know, a preliminary supply, buying climax. Volume doesn't yet support the idea of a distribution. It's still very early, so keep that in mind. But I wouldn't be looking to buy anything inside this trading range. I'd be looking for something, you know, somewhere down here in this area, maybe 13K sats or something. Nano or Scicoin? Yeah, we can look at Scicoin. So oops. Whoa. All right, so Scicoin's having a weird trend. I was not expecting it to pull down this hard, and I'm kind of surprised it did. It's so fucked up because I just bought some like right here, and it just like plummeted. So, but sometimes that happens. I'll just hang on to it. I think it'll come back up eventually. Scicoin might be doing the same thing that EOS is doing, where this is like, you know, your preliminary. Oops. Your preliminary. God damn it! Your preliminary supply. Man, that is just such crazy volume there, isn't it? That initial buy. Wait, why am I looking up? Is Bittrex the leader on this? Yeah. I don't see any clear signals for buying or selling right now. I would wait to see how it handles another round of buying or selling before I make a move on it if you're not already in a position. But it looks like it's maybe starting to shape out a trading range, but I don't see anything that leads me to say, you know, good buy or good sell signals or anything like that. Please check Ether Bitcoin. Yeah, we could check Ether Bitcoin. So it broke out of this big ascending triangle. I think it hit its price target, right? 8,500. Oh, wait, I'm an idiot. Hold on. What was the price target on it? Yeah, 8,500. What is this? Yeah, so it hit its price target really well. That's always nice. But I'm not really seeing. This sell is really weird. If we chop that off, how does this look? Man, it is a lot of chop though, isn't it? Ether Bitcoin. Kind of looks like a distribution. Like it's really volatile. I don't see any signs of consolidation here. It also just might be an early reaccumulation trading range. So this might be like a secondary test and it returns back down to the bottom. But it's very volatile right now. And I don't really see volume consolidation. So I don't really see too many great signs of reaccumulation. But it's also not the best distribution argument either. Usually when when you have a trading range like this and where I don't know what's going on, I just don't trade it. I wait. I put my money elsewhere where I have higher confidence. So like, for example, I'm in Litecoin right now, which just made a new high, dog. Chia. Litecoins are rallying. That's nice. Well, I say that with a grain of salt. It made a new high. Not exactly the craziest thing on the planet. But yeah, Ether Bitcoin doesn't have the cleanest signals to me. So personally, I'm not going to be touching it. I'm going to be playing higher confidence moves, like Litecoin. Do you mind looking at XAU? Yeah, sure. I have it right here. Wait, oh, XAU. I have XAG, sorry. USD. Actually, I haven't looked at gold in a while. Specifically look at the Bollinger Bands? That's not specific at all. What about the Bollinger Bands? Okay, so gold looks like it's in an accumulation trading range right now. We see a low volume spring. So if we outline it like this, it's not the best though. It's like, hold on, let me outline this real quick. So I think this, I'm sorry, this would be our preliminary support. This would be the top of the trading range. Something like that. Maybe even like that would probably be better. But however you want to draw it, this looks like a low volume spring, which if you didn't buy here, that would have been the way, this would have been the spot to buy. It doesn't quite look like it's ready for markup yet. I don't see any signs of strength where large volumes coming into the market, large spread. It kind of just looks like choppy shit, but this does look like a low volume spring. So yeah, those are my thoughts on gold. Silver has a similar but cleaner trading range. Where it's sitting on last point of support here. It's a little easier to identify silver right now. Silver actually looks very similar to the Litecoin chart. So if you go back and look at Litecoin, this is very fucking similar. And if you guys want to talk about stocks too, DIA broke out of its consolidation pattern on very high volume. So stocks are looking pretty healthy right now. And so did the S&P. So similar trend here. Not a lot of volume though, but it did break out of its consolidation. So take that for what it's worth. You guys want to look at BCH? Yes, let's look at BCH. So BCH is breaking out, or it's on the verge of breaking out of a long-term trading range, where it accumulated for a long period of time, and it's on the top of it right now. It's on the top of the trading range. You can see here, so follow this fat blue line as I zoom in, okay? It's sitting right on top of the trading range right now. It's poked under a few times, but it gets spat back out whenever it can. But this would have been a really great time to buy because similar to where Litecoin is right now, this is the last point of support. So if we compare the Litecoin chart on a higher time frame, God damn it, I cannot believe Binance. Okay, so we are right here for Litecoin. BCH is in a similar position in its own trading range. So it's sitting on last point of support on a multi-month. These are 2-hour candles, so this is a multi-month accumulation, it looks like. One of the signs that it's in accumulation is that the volume consolidated until it found its low, and then we see this large injection of volume, which indicates that the CEO is ready to sponsor the move. So I'm expecting big things from BCH this year. Yeah, we can look at Zcash. Everyone's got a Zcash boner right now. Dude, that volume is just fucking crazy. I cannot believe that. Dude, that is nuts. I cannot believe the volume on that. It just dwarfs everything. Oh, what? Why is this history so low? If I remember correctly, Zcash is in like a big ass accumulation, right? Yeah, I know Zcash got added to Gemini, but like that volume is just nuts. Like that was a stupid amount of Zcash. So some Bitcoin whale just decided, he was like, ah, fuck it, let's go Zcash. Okay, so Zcash obviously broke through the 50 EMA. It's probably going to find a little bit of resistance in the 200 and broke cleanly out of this cloud here. So, but it's also done that it's done that several times when it's just broken out and then retraced back in. How does a 3-day look? Not the best. Whoa. Okay, so the Zcash USD chart actually looks a little bit better. Not the best buy signal just yet. Once the Chiku clears the cloud, it'll be a much better buy signal, but I mean, it just broke out, so it's on a delay, you know what I mean? Litecoin also got added to Gemini. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, which is funny because they're both in giant fucking accumulation trading ranges. Coincidence? I think not. Your review on ADA, yeah. So, yeah, Cardano, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so Cardano. So Cardano's in a similar situation to Bitcoin Cash. But it doesn't have the best trading range right now. It actually, the fact that it retraced so hard doesn't bode well for the short term. Like it retraced really hard actually. How does the So the daily cloud actually doesn't look bad. There is a weak bearish cross here, But, you know, it doesn't look bad because, it's broken through the cloud. Kumo is nice and thick and green. Now we're close to a twist. The Chico is in the cloud right now. So this could reverse. This is either a horrible buying opportunity or a really good buying opportunity for Cardano. But that retracement was pretty hard. But if we look at like lower time frames, get out of here. Then, we can see that, volume is not exactly just like stellar on this ride down. So it may have just gotten whacked over the head by the sledgehammer of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It didn't make a new low though. I mean, it like barely made a new low, but it tested a new low on much less volume. So that is a strike in the bull column for sure. Did I close my ADA long? No, I'm at like break even right now. Well, slightly red. So I'm just going to hang on to it. I mean, I think it's near a bottom. Anyway, I gotta go take a nap. My adrenaline's dumping right now. So again, if you guys like the charts and you guys want to see more of it, then go to my website, bitcoinschmitcoin.com, and you can sign up and join my trading community there, so you can have more direct access to me on a regular basis. But I can't. It's just not feasible to do streams every day or sometimes even every week because like I said, right now I'm training for a match, so my time is spent elsewhere, and doing a stream just kind of takes up a large chunk of my concerted attention. So go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and join the trading community today, and I'll see you in there. But otherwise, even just liking, subscribing to my channel helps a lot. Sharing the videos helps a lot. Yeah. Sometimes, we get really good discussions on Twitter too, when people aren't trolling me. I think I've gotten kind of numb to the trolling though. I kind of just block people whenever they start trolling me. So I just don't have the time or the effort to like engage in that sort of activity. It's just mentally exhausting. So anyway, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and sign up today. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Maybe I'll update you guys at the end of the week, but have a great rest of your week, and don't stare at the charts too long. Bye.